but it looks like there may be more money available than what the governor had put into his budget.
Well,
this is part of the process, but that's the takeaway from today.
It's all estimates, right? So what we're going to do is, working with the Republicans on the committee, develop what we think is a sustainable number as terms of what the actual revenue is going to be. And we're going to be very cautious about doing estimates of revenue that would have any chance of not actually being met by the state. So I think it's very possible that the House Revenue and Finance Committee could take an even more conservative approach than any of the testimony that we heard today, because we want to be very cautious. The state has, spent above its means, and so we're going to err on the side of caution in this matter. I believe, and working with the Republicans, I think that's the goal.
Now, when you say could be more cautious, do you have a number in mind?
No, we're going to get
well under 34. I mean, we're talking 30.
We're going to get together with the members of the Republican caucus, and we're going to try to develop a bipartisan number, which we think we are comfortable with, beyond a reasonable doubt, will cover the actual revenues that we're going to have. But I don't think that we should err in terms of, if we make an error, it should be in the interest of caution.
So when providers and people who are looking at possible cuts, school districts, read this story tomorrow and they say, oh, we're talking $500 million difference between COGFA and the governor's office, they shouldn't look at that money as enough to spare them from the axe.
Well, and then the other thing is that you have to look at, in terms of the revenues that are available, you have to look in terms of some of the expenses that are out of our control. But we're going to try to come up with a real revenue number that the state can actually meet, which is not going to be subject to the potential of us not meeting it, which everybody is comfortable with will be attained by the state, and then try to force the rest of the state to live within its means, working together in a bipartisan manner.
Why should the people of Illinois trust the state to get it right and live within its means?
Well, I think this is part of regaining the trust of the people, and we have to demonstrate to the people of the state of Illinois that the mistakes that have taken place in the past are in the process of being corrected, and hopefully they'll believe young folks like myself that are working diligently to try to do this. And so I think we have to earn the respect and trust of the taxpayers that the state of Illinois is doing its part to spend their money as wisely as possible and not spend more than what we have. And the Revenue and Finance Committee is committed to being that watchdog, to working with the appropriations chairs, to working with the rest of state government to try to ensure that we start using better habits as a state, and I use the term we loosely, but that state starts using better spending habits and starts using better habits in terms of making revenue estimates. So this is the beginning, hopefully, of a new day of budgeting in Illinois.
How quickly do you think we'll get that real revenue figure?
Well, I hope that we're able to reconvene the committee, in the next, I don't think it'll happen this evening, but I hope we're able to come back sometime tomorrow or the next day with a number and then work from there, because obviously that's the key to the rest of this. And this is a very serious charge that we have here in terms of determining what the amount of revenue the state has, and this is going to affect everything else that we do for the rest of this session and for the rest of this of the upcoming fiscal year. And I think all of us on the committee take that in a very sincere and serious manner.